Hello, my Teaserking family. How the hell are everybody today? I am fine. Excuse me for being a little late, but I'm not really late. We can do class morning, noon, or night. So, I haven't eaten. Excuse me. So, I actually went to the Social Security Administration to get my Social Security because what the fuck? And it actually was perfect. There's 5 inches of snow. There was nobody there. It took me 10 minutes to see somebody, and we took care of the whole thing in 20 minutes. It was beautiful. So I advised going into the office on a rainy day, and they take care of everything, and I'll start getting checks on the 23rd. And I love how they limit you. Well, you can only make so much money and get the Social Security, which is hysterical. And but then when I turn, in a few years, you can then make as much as you want. I don't know why they put it in like, why do they restrict you? There's supposed to be retirement. So I could retire, semi-retire. I can still make like $20,000 a year with Social Security, and it's fine. But if I make too much, if I go back to my job, then I'll have to pay back. So I'll be making too much. So I'm not sure what to do. I kind of like semi-retirement, focusing on class and football and not the bullshit at work with girls going, oh, he offered me $100. It's clearly he must want sex. Hey, Greg and John. So, anyway, so that's where I was. But we got a lot of snow, which made driving very slow. But we're home, safe, time for class. Forgive me, I'm kind of hungry. And so, first things first, we look at our football. So I'm in covers right now because I want to see what Mahomes' status is. Oh, I guess I was looking at it. Debo Samuel, Frisco's probable. McCaffrey's probable. Eli Mitchell's probable. And that's it. And I only go like, if it says the guy's injury is November 22nd, I don't care because they're playing without him anyway. So as of January 23rd, a cornerback's questionable. Mitchell, McCaffrey, and Samuel all got banged up, but they're probable. And then this Omalia, who defensive lineman, is possible suspension. He might not have passed grades. Philly, downtown Freddie Brown is questionable with the hip. Tui Lupalupa is out with the knee, but that was January 9th. So they don't have any new injuries that they didn't already have. Let's look at TC. Hardman questionable. Chocolatey Clear questionable with an ankle, but he won't play. Mahomes questionable Sunday with an ankle. And a tight end, Forston, who I never heard of, is questionable with an elbow. So those are your January 23rd. So the other ones, there's really not much out there. So we don't really care if Hardman plays or not. We got other receivers. It's all Mahomes with the ankle, but he's not listed as out. He's not listed as doubtful, questionable. And last but not, we did Frisco, Philly, Cincinnati. And really, we have a January 23rd quarterback, Flowers, and the guard tackle that were out before are still out. So no big deal. We've got past that. So let's go to the line. And our line. Our line says Philly 2.5, 46.5. So we'll go into every casino. And every casino's got Philly 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. It's all 2.5. None are going to 3, which is really weird. The over-under, or total, as you might want to say, 46.5. There's a 46.5. So it's pretty much 46.5. That's not moving. Cincinnati 1.5. Now it's Cincinnati 1s all over the place. And I even have a KC 1.5. That's what I've already bet is KC 1.5. So here I've got Cincinnati's laying 1. So it went from 2 to 1.5 to 1. So they're monkeying around with us, changing it to 2. So the sharp better could take KC and 8. So we're at 1. And then totals are 47.5, 47, 47, a 46.5, but mostly 47s, 47.5s. Now, isn't that kind of unusual? What do we take out of that is why isn't the total going down? If Mahomes isn't playing, they're not going to score. That total should be 43, but it's staying at 47. So they're assuming Mahomes is playing with the line dropped to 1. Our free play is still Cincinnati. Now we get +5. I'm pretty happy with that. Excuse me while I whip this out. So, anyway, so we like Cincinnati. That hasn't changed. I haven't looked at them as a road favorite, but we'll see. They'll probably be dog again. So the question is Mahomes. You're coming off of a high ankle sprain, which you just got, which takes 3 to 4 weeks to get better. Are we expecting him to be 100% this week? No. If he was 100%, would we expect him to beat Cincinnati, the team they just lost 3 times in a row to? Probably not. So I don't get the big deal, but, I heard one guy on BetMGM yesterday on the radio driving to swim, and the guy's like, oh, I would take Chan Henne if I got like 5 or 6 points. This is the problem with when you listen to idiots, right? Why would you take Chad Henne? Mahomes isn't going to beat him. You tease Cincinnati down to even if it went to 6, but it's not. Get the bet in now and you get +5, or do what I did. I got +7.5. Get your bet in. But if Mahomes plays, is Kansas City now a favorite because he's going to play on 80% or 70% with a banged up ankle that is not going to be 100%. So he's maybe, let's say 75%, maybe, probably limping around. Can he really make the throws? So we'll see what happens. But even 100%, he couldn't beat him. And you're not going to beat Joe Burrow. Look what he just did to Josh Allen, who everybody thinks is a superstar but me. So anyway, I can almost give a score. I'll give a score Friday, I promise. Like I said, my score is probably going to be 31-13, I feel. Even if Mahomes played well, I'm 31-13. If he doesn't play, I'm probably 31-3. So they're not going to stop Cincy. Casey doesn't have that defense. You're not stopping Burrow and Chase. Chase is like really strong receiver. So he just looks for the opening and he sits down. He's very good at reading the defense, going, where's the soft spot? Sit down in the soft spot. Him and Burrow are on the same page because they both played at LSU. He throws it to him. But then when the magic happens and try tackling Chase, he'll get the ball, let's say, at the 5-yard line. He scores a touchdown. You can't stop this guy. He needs 3 yards for a first down. They throw him the ball. He gets the 3 yards because he's very strong, very fast, very quick. So he's got moves. And he's very hard to tackle, especially for a loss, because go find a guy who's fast enough who can handle him because he's very strong. So it's good luck finding that guy. If it's a linebacker, he jukes him. And if it's a safety, he jukes him. And he's just faster than they are. So there's very few people that are both fast and strong enough to stop him from gaining. And that's really the key. So what is Burrow? There he is. Boom. Catches the ball, goes in for a touchdown. That's the beauty of Jamar Chase and Burrow. They read each other, and he can throw him a 3-yard pass that he turns into a 10-yard pass, throws him the ball near the goal line. It's a touchdown almost 100% of the time. So there you have it. The Frisco-Philly game. We're just looking at the dog. Don't sit there and tell me Brock Purdy sucks, because he doesn't. And if you watch him play, you see he's very composed. He hits the guys right on the chest. He knows where to throw it. Pretty much avoids the sack. Pretty good at reading, oh, shit, the blitz is coming. I better get the hell out of here. And he's very, very accurate. And doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, doesn't turn it over. And now we've got the same perplexion that we had last week. What did we have last week? Dallas went to Tampa and beat kind of a bad Tampa team with not much defense. And Tom Brady, Fournette apparently got hurt. The receivers, Jones and Evans, they've been bickering the whole year anyway. So Dallas looks like, they look like the 75 Steelers. Okay, they got the big win. Yes, Pittsburgh won 74 and 75, the first two Super Bowls. So you have that, and then you sit there and you go, well, yeah, Dallas beat Tampa, but now they got to play the Niners. And how are they going to do against them? And that's what we saw. The Niners killed them 19-12. They didn't put up the 30 points they did against Tampa. They couldn't stop a balanced offense with two good running backs and Deebo Samuel and Ayuk and Kittle and Purdy playing well and a championship defense. And they didn't show up. If they did show up, that's all they got. So, again, their weakness, Prescott. Now we go to Philadelphia, who beat the New York fucking Giants, who, they stink. Well, they win 8 games, 9 games, 10 games, something. Not a lot, not a championship team. Certainly not a championship quarterback or receivers or defense. A good pass defense. And we love Barkley. Jones sucks. And then we've got, the receivers were all injured. Okay. And they're really going to give Philly a game? No. Philly beats them 38-7, as we thought. Bobby. No, I went. Actually, we had a snowstorm here, and I didn't know it. So I go out to do my Social Security because I didn't get 2 jobs yesterday, and I'm starting to get pissed. And I said, I don't want to worry about it. I'm going to fucking retire and teach economics and football and do Teaserking, and fuck it. And I'm tired of being discriminated against about being older to try to get a job. So I started doing my Social Security yesterday, and it says, "Oh, wait, we need your ex-wife's ex-wife's Social Security number." Well, I don't have it. It says, "Well, you go into the office and get it." So here I am in the middle of a snowstorm. I got 6 inches of snow on my car, and the roads are snow covered. And then I have this brilliant idea but if I go, nobody will be there, right? Who's going to go out in the snowstorm? So I get there. There's nobody there. I get waited on within 5 minutes, and we go through the whole process. Within 10 minutes, she says, "Oh, we really didn't need your wife's social because you both made about the same amount of money." She's a CPA, and I got a master's in corporate finance, so we both made the same money. So there's no discrepancy that I have to pay her some money out of Social Security, or she might pay me if I didn't work. So, Bobby, you're fucked because you made a lot of money in baseball. If you had a wife or somebody, they obviously were sitting at home, but you're not relying on this. So, really, all I'm trying to do is pay my monthly expenses, my rent, gas, food, electricity. And now I can help the girls much better because I was worried I got to keep taking a couple thousand out of my bank to handle rent and the bills. I'm going to eventually run out, and I don't want to turn in my gold and silver for this, which we're going to get to later in the show. So I go down just to try to get my ex-wife's social, and she does the whole thing for me in 15 minutes. It's all set. I get about $2,500 a month, which takes care of the bills, which is all I cared about. I got plenty of money elsewhere, Teaser King money, and then I got gold and silver, but I don't want to sell it at this price. And so she took care of it. So that's where I was. I went at about noon because I had a hard time sleeping last night. And I found some very valuable stuff for us about the euro, the yen, the US dollar, all this shit. I found it. So let me finish with football. We'll get to it. But that's why. So I went about 12:30 because I wanted to wait for them to eat lunch and all this shit because you know how the government employees are. They'll go to lunch from 11 to 2. So it's like, don't go at noon. So I waited a little bit. I didn't want to start the show. So it's a snowstorm here, really. It's 5-6 inches. And I probably won't go swimming tonight. So I was glad I got out. And then I was going to go to the pools near the Social Security office, but I said, fuck that. I wanted to get back and eat and do the class. So I haven't eaten, so I'm just starting to nibble now. So that's where I was, Bobby. Now I'm home. Now I don't have to worry about everything, so I can teach every day. So it's a nice routine, get up, teach, go swim, go eat, and then I'm fully capable. So I told my Ukrainian girlfriend we'll go on a nice 2-3 week vacation now that I don't have to worry about the money and I don't have to worry about it's a job and I got to get 2 weeks off and I got to, how long of a vacation can you get? Not in your world, Bobby, but the rest of us who work 52 weeks a year at an office doing finance or IT or whatever. And you can only take a week here and a week there. So now I said, well, we'll take a nice 2-3 week vacation, probably go to the south of France, somewhere there's a beach. And so she can recover from this war crap. So I'll get my first payment. She said the second Wednesday of the month, you get a direct deposit. So I'll just wait for that and then we'll go on our trip. So that'll be my fun. Football will be over, unfortunately, which I hate. I always hate when football ends. So that's where I was. Any questions you have on like Social Security? It's very easy. I just needed a driver's license. I thought I was going to need a birth certificate. I didn't. If you don't have your ex's Social Security, you give them the divorce papers and they can look it up with the birth date and her maiden name. And that was it. And then I gave them like my last job that I just finished. And that was it. So on the application, they asked for more, but you didn't need it. And then you bring in your banking, the direct deposit and everything. So it was really easy. It didn't take long. She gave me the amount. I'll get a mail verification in about a week or two. And then the middle of February and every second Wednesday, I'll get a nice direct deposit, which pays rent, which is all I care about. So with that said, we're waiting for gold and silver to go up. But let's just finish on football. So the thought was Frisco, Philly. Philly played the Giants 38-7, a 22 defense, no quarterback, Barkley, which they keyed on. And the key was their defense isn't that good. And they ran it down their throat. Now, as I totally try to explain to you, you can't go and look at that game like you couldn't look at Dallas-Tampa to figure out Dallas-Frisco. You can't look at Philly, the Giants, because they're playing San Francisco's defense, not the Giants. They're playing Purdy and McCaffrey and Samuel and Ayuk and Kittle and this best defense in the league, almost as good as Georgia's last year's defense. So this is a totally different animal. What do you do with this animal? And that's where I'm at is how do you value Philly Giants, throw that out and look at Philly Frisco? And I got the game dead even. Philly's got a good defense. But again, Dallas's defense looked good against Brady because they had no Fournette. The receivers, Jones is always hurt, doesn't care anyway. Another good Alabama receiver that always never pans out. Devontae Smith, he's average. He doesn't look great. I mean, he's no big deal. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. I try to do my best, and I always think of you guys to explain to you guys all this other shit that comes in and out of our lives that we really need to understand that we are free to talk about. Sort of like what you'd want in a girlfriend or a wife, is somebody you can talk to like this. So Philly, we don't know, but they're going to play a whole different team. So that's what we look at. So like Dallas played a weak offense. Philly played a weak offense, and the Giants. Jones sucks. It's all Barkley. I think Jones threw for 100 yards on like 6 of 20, and Philly ran it down their throats because the Giants don't have a run defense. They play the pass. So with that said, what are you going to do, as Stone Cold would say for you, Bobby? What are you going to do against the San Francisco defense? It's not the Giants. It's a whole lot better. It's the top defense in the league or in the country. It's better than Georgia's. So what were you going to do against this? Are you going to run down their throat? No way. Dallas has Elliott and Pollard until Pollard got hurt. They couldn't run it down their throat. They got one drive early. I thought Dallas came out too emotional, as if it was like a Michigan-Ohio State game. And by the fourth quarter, they were done. They were flat. They couldn't stop anything. As Frisco showed you, they just drove it right down their throats and got a couple of touchdowns and ran out the clock almost. So I don't know. I don't think Philly will come out like Ohio State, like Dallas did, but this will be a very emotional game. And the difference is they'll be able to rest with their offense. So are they going to be able to run it down Frisco's throats? Probably not. I don't see Boston Scott really messing with this Frisco defense. They're so fast and so talented. What will Hurts do? Is Hurts? I don't think Hurts is going to do shit. They have that real fast linebacker. I can't remember, Thornberry or something, who was, just extremely fast. I just really don't see Philly. I see Frisco winning this game. I like Frisco getting 8.5 points. So if I don't know anything, I rank the game even. I give the defense an edge to the Niners, and I like the quarterback. I think Purdy's better than Hurts. Better receivers. Kittle, Philly doesn't have anybody like Kittle. Philly's receivers are okay. Brown and Smith are okay. I got Ayuk and Samuel. That's a wash. I got Kittle. That's a plus. Running backs, I got McCaffrey. You got Boston Scott. I'll take McCaffrey. And Purdy won't turn the ball over. So if we look at what Hurts is, he's 15-5. Hurts is 15-5. I think he threw a touchdown. So let's call him 16-5 last week against Purdy at 13-4. And I think they ran it in. See, that's the difference. When Frisco gets down to the goal line, they can give it to McCaffrey. They can give it to Samuel, run the ball in. You can't stop that. Or I like the Dave Casper play. But if you're sitting there trying to throw the ball in on 4 times, there's nowhere for them to go. You're never going to do it. So you need to be able to run to score the touchdowns. Frisco can. Philly can't unless it's Hurts on this quarterback draw or something, which is so obvious, it's coming. So I would just key on Hurts. So I think the game's dead even. I like the Niners and the points. I like the under because both defenses are killer defenses. Excuse me. So then when I look at Cincy KC, you got Mahomes. They got the line down to 1. Well, what is Mahomes 100%? Bobby, high ankle sprains are not healed. You can take the needle, but it's not going to make it go away. It might numb it for a little bit. When he comes out in the second half, he's going to be limping around. He's not going to make it. They'll have to go to Henny. If he does play, he's going to be limping around. So even if he was 100% healthy, I like Cincinnati here because they beat him 3 times in a row, and you can't fuck with Burrow and Chase. So that's my prediction. So I think Cincy wins by at least 10. We'll get a better view of Mahomes. And then I'm wondering, why is the 47.5 still 47.5? If Mahomes doesn't play, how the hell are they going to get there? And even if Mahomes was 100%, I don't know that they could get there after what I just saw with the Buffalo game. But for sure, if he's hurt, as he is, a high ankle sprain, which is actually a broken ankle, you broke the bones, what you did, so he's going to limp around. Maybe they get 10 points since he has a way of grinding you down, tough defense. So you're going to grind it down. And then what does that leave you? It leaves you, where's Cincy going to score? So that's why I like Cincy as the dog, or Cincy +5. But in the over-under, I don't know how this is 47. This should be down to 43. So again, another mistake. Why isn't this line going down? Or as Phil would say, it's already factored in that Mahomes is injured. They knew that. So the 47 would have been a 52 like it was last week. Last week's KC was a 52 with Jacksonville. So probably it would have been in the 50s. So maybe that's what Phil's saying. Would have been in the 50s. But you know what? We know Mahomes is hurt, so it's 47. So it's already, let's say it's factored in, which is still huge. I still don't see how they're going to get to this number with Mahomes limping around. All right, so that's football. Dog, San Francisco, Philly. Like the game under with these great defenses. Cincinnati only laying 1 now, so I don't know why it went to 2, and I don't know why it's back down to 1. Whatever drove it to 2 should have driven it to 3, so now we're back to 1. It's still my free play, Cincinnati. Now it's +5. As long as you got more than 4, you're golden. And have a nice big bet on it. Okay, now I'm going to walk you to a very interesting talk I had with Paper Money. So I can't go to sleep yesterday. And it's 3, 4 in the morning, and I'm not sleeping. So I start looking at, let's talk about the currency, all the bullshit that's going on, the digital dollar. So I take a look and I ask, when are they're not going to announce the euro's bankrupt. They're going to come out with new dollars. So I type in euro new dollars, and you're not going to believe what I got. Right here. So I share the news. So let me read it to you. The European Central Bank will select a new design for Euro banknotes by 2024. We are in 2023. The Euro's own currency, it was introduced in 1999. After 20 years, it's time to review the look of our banknotes. In the translation of our economic world of the professor translating, it means this paper is worthless. The inflation is terrible. We're coming out with new currency, as I told you, in 2024. I don't know if they can last that long. It's time to review the look of our banknotes to make them more relatable to Europeans of all ages and backgrounds, said the ECB, which is the European Central Bank, sort of like the Fed in the U.S. President said they are tangible and visible symbols that we stand together in Europe, particularly in times of crisis, and there is still a strong demand for them. There might be a strong demand for them, but they don't have any value. The banknotes are currently based on, who cares? Like they're going into the what they look like. Now here's the problem: the euro is where in Frankfurt, so Germany runs the euro. Who do we know who's famous from Germany? The fellow with the mustache. That's right. So this is like right here. The final euro design issued by 2024. So it's coming out now. The bank will then call on the public for their input on the shortlisted themes, a design competition. Oh, Jesus Christ. The ECB governing council will make a final decision for the new banknotes that are issued in 2024. So what do I tell you guys? This collapses because of the inflation and they come out with new dollars. I say the euro is collapsing. It's got no value. They're inflating it to all hell. What did I just say? The new banknotes are coming out in 2024, which they will revalue. The new banknotes will then, but think of currency, think of money as a balloon. If you do not weigh it down by an anchor, it floats up in the air forever, right? Because there's no way of bringing it down. That's how money is. If you don't have an anchor, and in our case, we all know what's the anchor, Bobby? Yeah, gold and silver are the anchor for the dollar. So you can't let it just float because gold keeps it down. And that's why they hate it, because JP Morgan can't print it. So what do you have? You have new euro notes coming out in 2024. The process to redesign the euro banknotes will run in parallel with our investigation of a digital euro. Both projects aim to fulfill our mandate of providing safe and secure money. You're not backing it by gold there, so it won't be safe and secure. Since the launch of euro banknotes in 1999, this is the first time we are launching the process to redesign the themes and the design. Geez, and the coincidence is it's right when the inflation's kicking in and your euros are worthless. So you're going to come out with a new euro design and think that that's going to fool all the bubbleheads who don't understand, thinking, oh, this is pretty. Oh, they redesigned the euro. Isn't that great? And that's exactly what they're doing. But are they telling you? No, what are they doing? They're sugarcoating it into, we've got this new dollars we want to come out in 2024, which we all know won't last till then. It'll come out September 2023. Here's our new banknote. We're testing it out. Now, I did read where the old ones will still have value. So remember, my concern was, are we going to get fucked? I got all this money in the safe. Am I going to be able to get the money in the safe? Is it going to be like Monday it's okay, Tuesday it's worthless? Apparently not. No, it's got a long life. It'll be a few years and then they'll phase it out. So you can take your money out of the safe, exchange it for the new money, and go. Now, digital currency, as I said, it's only in the test phase. It's going to take years upon years to roll it out, and it's not even going to be rolled out to the public. It's for the banks. So they're not even, they're talking digital currency, but they don't explain it. It's not for me and you. It's for the central bank to hit the banks, supposedly to save them money, because when you make an international transaction between Switzerland and England, and you have to then go get US dollars and trade it out, that's costly. So that's the whole point of the digital dollar, is to get rid of that cost so they can just trade amongst each other, which was always my thought of, why the fuck do you need to buy US dollars to then go buy yen or won or rubles or British pounds? What the fuck? Why don't you just buy it with the currency? See, that's what we don't know, because I go to Switzerland and I get Swiss francs, or I go to Amsterdam and I get euros. I don't need to go through that process because I got the US dollars. So that's the other part of the story. So when they're scaring you with the Great Reset is to reset gold and silver to Bobby's prices, and to reset the dollars, because it's all being inflated, to the new currencies that everybody's rolling out. Now, that's the euro. So 2024, let's go back one more. Let's go to Japan, the other country going bankrupt. And guess what Japan's doing? A new series of banknotes to be rolled out 2024. Let's see if I can get this right. So this is December 2022. Japan has stopped printing its current yen bills. And so for nearly 40 years, since 1984, they've been printing these bills. And guess when they start printing the new bills? You guessed it, 2024. I'm looking for the date. So they're kind of showing you, these are going to be our new bills. Now, what did I warn you about? When you see $10,000 bills, there's hyperinflation because they can't handle it. So they come out with $10,000 bills and $20,000 bills. Everybody hates them because they got to make all this change with them. But that's because you have hyperinflation, which is what Japan has. And if we look at the bottom, look at the last paragraph. The new notes, I can't read it that way. The new notes, meanwhile, are scheduled to be in circulation in the first half of 2024. So now we got the euro coming out with new bills and we got the yen coming out with new bills. But what do we know about both countries? They've inflated their money to it's worthless. They don't have a value anymore. Only nobody knows it. So what do? They come out with this scam and they say, you know what? We're going to change our design on our bills. Translation, we've inflated these so their value is zero. And we're going to come out and restart the game. And we're going to say, here's new bills in 2020. And they both happen to come out in 2024. What a fucking coincidence. Jesus, what timing. It's just unbelievable what they do and then how they do it, right? They can't be honest. They got to fuck with everybody and go, you know what? It's time we brought new ones out. And we're going to do it all in 2024, coincide to the fact none of our dollars have any value anymore. Now, I saw some other things that just blew my mind. And it's all in Google. So there's a whole Google shit list of new euro currencies. This is what I went through. This is what I did at 3 a.m. for you guys. Well, and for me. But wait, I have a better one. Imagine hearing this. How will gold and silver be used after the dollar collapses? They're not even saying, is the dollar collapsing? It's after the dollar collapse. So they're already collapsing the dollar and talking about gold and silver. This is on Google. And let's see, gold's at 1941, silver's at 2384 as of when we speak. How will gold and silver coins be used after the dollar collapse? This is for you, Bobby. Those who choose to purchase gold and silver coins do so for a variety of reasons. They may be investment purposes, a hedge against inflation, and or protection against financial and economic crisis. However, one of their primary reasons for doing so is to protect against a potential and likely dollar collapse. What is it that the professor teaches you? Look what they did on the dollar. They said, well, this guy is useless. Looks like the Joker there. Especially considering central banks around the world have pursued loose monetary policies since the pandemic in hopes to stimulate the economy. In other words, they're printing as they print, they inflate, and they lose the value of their currencies. Your only way out, gold and silver, not Bitcoin, not stocks, not bonds. I did ask the lady at Social Security, I said, what if I didn't want to go to gold. I said, what if I have stocks and they go up? Does that count against the 20,000? And she said, no, it's only if you go to work and get paid and you have a check stub. So if I can figure out a way to teach and get paid and being a job, not for you guys, but I was hearing like on TikTok, they can teach, then I can do that. I can make another 25 and it won't affect the other. Not counting the fact gold and silver go through. So she says, so if I make money on Microsoft and I make $20,000 on it, does that affect my Social Security? She says, no, only working. Now, of course, I don't have stocks, but I didn't want to go gold. There was a picture of Biden in the office that scared me. I almost ran out. And I had to wear a mask today. Like, oh, we're back to that shit again. So anyway, so as long as I make money on investments, it doesn't count against going to work and actually making money. There are countless examples of this occurring. Well, let's go back to what there's, especially considering central bank hope of stimulating the economic growth. There's a real possibility their citizens will lose faith in their own currency, which is what I'm saying. As soon as I don't believe this is worth anything, and the whole country realizes it's worthless, it's gone. There is no value in it. So these are countless examples of this occurring most recent, where the citizens lose faith in their currency. Because that's all this is, because it's not backed by gold, is in God we trust, the United States of America. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, because the Federal Reserve says so. I'd rather have Stone Cold Steve Austin say so. Then I would have more faith in it. There are countless examples of this occurring most recently. So you don't think this is happening. Most recently, we've seen this in Turkey, Venezuela, Argentina, and Zimbabwe, where they are experiencing massive hyperinflation. So you don't think it's coming to a theater near us, just in Turkey, Venezuela, and Argentina. In fact, at the time of this writing, most of the world is experiencing nearly double-digit inflations, which has taken a toll on the spending power of their citizens. See, I like this guy. He's almost an Austrian. He's much better than these YouTube idiots. Current situations as of quarter 3, 2022, the U.S. dollar, which is still the world's reserve currency, has often been viewed as a safe haven. In fact, by the third quarter of 2022, the dollar is a 20-year high versus the euro and 24 versus the yen, which are both coming out with new currencies in 2024. This isn't because our monetary system is sound. It's far from the case, since much of it can be attributed to the world events. The best way to view it is it's the dollar is the least dirty shirt in the laundry. However, with a monetary base of $9 trillion and a national debt of $30 trillion, with annual deficits north of $1 trillion, and the fact we are officially now in a recession, there's reason to believe the dollar will weaken in time. Let's put it in English. What they're saying is the monetary base of $9 trillion is what the country as a whole, GDP, which is goods and services that me and you guys produce, we make about $9 trillion. The debt on the $9 trillion is $30 trillion. That does not include other debt, which is really about $100 trillion. You are raising interest rates, which makes the $30 trillion more like $40 trillion. And you're running a deficit. So imagine we're living, you got your own house, Bobby's house, and Bobby gets his, I don't know, Bobby makes $10,000 a month on his royalties of his baseball cards, which he wishes he did. So he gets $10,000, but Bobby's expenses are $15,000 a month, let's say. So he's got rent, and he's got his cars, and he bought too many cars. He's got his girls, he's got his food, he's got his insurance, so his expense to live is $15,000, but he only makes 10. How can Bobby live like that? He can't live by spending more than he makes. And that's what I'm doing with the Social Security. It pays off my rent, utility, food. I am clean to live month to month. The Teaserking money, the gold, that's all gravy. That's my retirement. That's to take care of my European girls. And I can take vacation. I even asked her, can I go on a vacation with Social Security? Who knows what they restrict? She says, no, you can go to Europe. You can go to California. And I go, okay, fine. And so I have no restrictions, really. Just if I go back to my normal financial analyst job, I can't, then it's going to fuck me, because I can't make $100,000 and get Social Security. So I can only make 20,000, and it's not a problem. If I make 60 or 70,000, I got to pay some of it back, which kind of defeats. I like kind of just sitting here going, I can teach, I can watch my movies, I can go to the gym, I can cook, and I can afford it all. So I think that's really where we're headed. And then the Teaser King money and the gold. And once the gold goes through the roof, I'll be on an island anyway. So that's what they're saying. So the monetary base is 9 trillion. So that's what they make. They owe 30 trillion in debt, and they run a $1 trillion deficit. So every month, so the deficit so they budget 8 trillion and spend 9 trillion. They're spending more than they're getting in, which is going to drop because people are going to lose their jobs, which is going to cost them less in taxes for so part of the revenue the government gets, they don't have revenue, right? They get taxes as their revenue. This is why it's so screwed up. So they have to tax us so they can make money, so they can have all these stupid departments running around. How do I get paid? I am getting paid by a Ponzi scheme. I am getting paid by Madoff. You're working, you're putting your money into the Social Security, the younger folks, and they're taking that and stealing it from you and giving it to me because I've now hit, the Social Security age. I can start pulling, and I'm pulling. And fortunately, my rent is affordable right now to be able to cover it. Hopefully, I get more money because of inflation, and they adjust it for me to get more money. I don't care as long as I can cover it, as long as rent doesn't go up too much. So that's really the key to it. You're being made off. You're putting money in. I'm the one taking the money out. And then they restrict me for a couple of years that I can make 20 grand, which is nothing. But then in 3 years, I can then go and make 500,000, and I don't have to, and I can keep Social Security. I don't know why I'd want it if I can make $1 million working as a CFO. Why do I need Social Security? So I don't know why they limit it now for a few years. It just seems stupid. I should be able to work and have it. This is a retirement account. I paid into it just like you're paying into it. Anyway, so another Madoff scheme, which is where Madoff got the whole idea, was Social Security. Said, fuck, that's a Ponzi scheme. People pay in, they don't keep it. It goes to somebody else. So that was really the first Ponzi scheme, Social Security. This is especially the case when the Federal Reserve changes their monetary policy at the end of the year or the beginning of next and begins another round of printing money. And printing money is called quantitative easing. And when you do that, you devalue the money even more because now there's more money out there. And with more money out there, again, it loses value. In other words, meaning the government will institute a monetary policy in which the central bank will pump more money into the financial system by purchasing bonds, which in turn will artificially reduce interest rates and in theory help stimulate growth, which is what's going to happen very soon. The current fiscal and monetary state of the U.S. is one reason why many individuals purchase government-minted gold and silver coins, such as American Eagles and Maple Leafs, and kangaroos for Bobby. Yes, from a practical standpoint, do you know how they should be used? We experience a monetary and currency collapse. Here are 5 ways we predict how gold and silver may be used. Legal tender. Now, this is very interesting, and please note this. A handful of states has already passed legal tender laws making gold and silver legal tender, and more simply put, an acceptable form of currency. Now, several years later, the number of states has doubled. So a lot of the states are acknowledging and saying you can use gold and silver for money. Maybe by this time you read the article, the number will have increased even more. Legal tender laws have been positive for precious metals. They have eliminated state income tax on the sale of gold and silver coins. So all we need to do is go to a state where this is there, and we don't have to pay a state sales tax for selling it, which we hope to not have to pay anyway, which is a great first step. In some states, it's limited strictly to U.S. coins, while it's broader in others. And the guys from Georgia, there's no sales tax on the sale of coins and currency, but they haven't passed the legal tender laws, so why would you sell it? And you'd probably go to Florida. Federal Federal income taxes are still owned on profits realized from the sale of gold and silver, even in states that have passed the legal tender laws. But hopefully, at some point, we'll see the federal government also pass a nationwide legal tender law. After all, when the price of gold and silver rises, it's not so much all these metals have increased in value, but rather the value of the dollar has declined, which is what I teach you. We're seeing this today with reported inflation rates over 9%. Again, the hope is that we will see sweeping changes to the way gold and silver are viewed by our federal and state governments. After all, in our Constitution, the only acceptable form of payment were gold and silver. If that's the case, then there should be wide use of silver and gold as a medium of exchange. Obviously, if these laws are passed prior to a dollar collapse, gold and silver will be used widely, and the value of them will go through the fucking moon. Also, they're not going to, people get afraid, oh, they're going to take it from us. They're going to come in and do it like they did in the 30s. Not according to this. It's just the opposite. Go ahead and use the gold and silver. Now, how will the government, steal it from everybody is the other choice. They might steal it at the shop level or whatever, but what they're going to say is, yeah, go ahead. They don't want to look like idiots, and they're not going to take it from us. That's the beauty of this, and that's the beauty of silver. They will never take gold jewelry, and they will never take silver, and even the gold, maybe they take the ounce, but that's why I'm buying half ounce, quarter ounce, and tenth of an ounce. At the end of the day, I still got all these ounces of gold, but this way, I can buy a tenth of an ounce. I can sell a tenth of an ounce worth, and if gold's at 50,000, I get 5,000. But it won't even be in dollars because the dollar will go away, and then gold will be priced in its own value. Businesses that may accept gold, there's a lot of businesses, mostly small. Gold and silver exchange. In an ideal world, we will see widespread passage of state and federal legal tender laws, and most, if not all, companies that provide necessary goods and services would accept gold and silver. Grocery stores, doctors, attorneys, Teaserking. However, if that's not the case and dollars or some other medium of exchange are still being used, which will be the new US dollar, how will you be able to convert your precious metals into these acceptable currencies? Are you listening, Bobby? Fortunately, there are still several potential businesses that are able and willing to exchange your gold and silver into cash or whatever at the time is being widely accepted as currency. So as the US dollar runs out, well, what are you going to give me? They'll give you the new currency. They'll give you the 2024 euro, the 2024 yen, or the 2024 US dollar. Possible gold and silver exchange facilities include coin dealers, pawn shops, jewelry stores, and We Buy Gold stores. You may also be able to obtain direct access to a refinery. Could you imagine that? Brokers that previously only dealt in gold and silver ETFs or mutual funds may also expand their business to trade in physical gold and silver out of need because nobody's going to use an ETF. Additionally, other gold and silver exchanges may open to meet demand, meaning, well, there's huge demand to sell the gold to get whatever the new currency is, and all these businesses will pop up saying, oh, yeah, you can give us your gold and we'll give you currency. If they can make money at it, they'll do it. So that'll be another Say's Law. We have an item. We have a demand. We want to sell our gold. And what happens? Say's Law. Supply creates demand. We have supply. We have gold. We demand you take it and give us cash for it. So we've created this so then people will enter the marketplace to meet what our supply is. Just like if you ever go to Europe and you got US dollars and you want euros or you want Swiss francs, you can go to a bank or you can go to an exchange place or you can just use an ATM and you basically go, you give them $100, they give you whatever the currency you want to get. There's a slight charge for it. That's what happened. Now, usually I just use an ATM. Now, how do you put a gold coin in an ATM? You won't. So you'll probably go to these exchange banks or whatever, and you'll give them the ounce of gold. They're going to give you whatever back that their currency will give you. And so everybody's worried, how am I going to buy coffee with an ounce of gold? And you're going to get the equivalent value of it back. Stop worrying. And if you give them a quarter ounce, because you don't want to walk around with 50,000 euro, here's a tenth, give me 5,000 euro and I'm on the trip, stuff like that. And then you exchange the euro back for whatever dollars or whatever. That's why you collect different value. And that's where silver is going to come into play. So Bobby's going to take his 10 ounces of silver and go to Amsterdam to meet the girls, and he'll go to a bank or an exchange or the bakery or who knows in Amsterdam, and he'll be able to give them the gold and they'll give him cash. And believe me, that'll be very popular. So it's a new demand that we're creating because nobody's into gold and silver now except for the Russians, the Chinese, the Indians, the Saudis, and they're buying bars, but the coins are getting crushed and the banks are open. So the demand for gold and silver will be through the fucking roof. And all these little transition stores will be saying, absolutely, I'll buy your gold. And they'll look and they'll see it's 50,000 and they'll say 50,000 and I get I get $50 for it. And that's how they're going to make their money, by doing the transaction, just like they do it now. If you're in Europe, you want euros, here's $100, I get 105 euros, and you get your little, you get $5 for doing it. I noticed that in when I was in Portugal. I would go through an ATM and I'd say, give me, I want 100 euros. It would charge me like 105 and a $5 fee for doing the transaction. Plus I had to pay an ATM fee. And I was a little bit pissed because it was pretty expensive, considering it should have been even money. And instead of even money, it ended up where it was $113 for a $100 transaction, which should have been 100 because the euro and the dollar were at the same currency. So it should have been $100 with a small fee. Well, that's what's going to happen. So people are going to come out of the woodwork to buy your gold and silver, give it to you, and make this fee of whatever JP Morgan decides it's going to be at. That's what's coming, and you can see it, and it's right here. Let's see. This is called atlantagold.com. This is where I am. I Googled it. So I Googled US dollar or something like that. I'll walk you back to that. This is the site. This is the information that is extremely valuable. So let's see. So you're going to have a gold and silver exchange. And once we get to physical, that's when we see the shit hit the fan. And the more that people have, the value of the physical will go through the roof because it'll be out there. And then these traders are going to want it to be 50,000 because they make more. They get a percentage, right? So if they get 1%, they get $500 to transaction, versus if it's 2,000 an ounce, they get $20. So of course they want it to go up, as we do. It's important to remember that gold and silver hold their value under a collapsing currency. So it's best to keep your holdings in precious metals until the need arises. So in other words, they're saying don't sell it now, wait until the value goes up. It's like a stock, right? The stock's at 20 and they're like, don't sell it yet, wait till it hits 50, like the gold miners, right? Until the need arises. Is especially important in a hyperinflation environment where the value of the currency is literally depreciating by the hour, which was Germany with the wheelbarrows that I was teaching you about. In other words, when a need arises that requires the liquidation of gold and silver, it's best to have the purchase of the good or service that you need already lined up and a price pre-negotiated. So what they're saying is you want to buy it now, which is why I keep screaming to buy it now and not to wait and not to time it. It's not a stock. Once this shit hits the fan, and for them to even say, what do you do when the currency collapses? Who would have thought the currency is going to collapse? Here's an article. What do you do once it collapses? I don't always barter, but when I do, in the situation where the economy is experiencing hyperinflation, which is nobody has faith in the dollar, I need a wheelbarrow, and I'm pouring the dollars in, and I can buy a can of tuna fish with $50,000 because they're not worth anything. I'm wallpapering my house and lighting my cigars with money because it's worthless. and people are no longer willing. So in a situation when economy is experiencing hyperinflation and people are no longer willing to accept the government issued currency, a barter economy may develop or a black market, at least until there is a currency reset. 2024. Look what's happened. We're coming out with new dollars. Gee, don't they look pretty? And it's not because the dollar's in trouble. We just want to, we haven't really printed new dollars in a while. So we're going to come out. Coincidentally, Japan and Euro, and I bet if I looked at India, they would also be on the list. Let's come out with new dollars and let's do it all in 2024. What a coincidence. While we don't know for certain what types of items would be used for bartering following a currency collapse, it's safe to say that gold and silver coins, which have been used as money for thousands of years, is one of the most likely candidates. Sort of experiencing an EMP attack, which I guess is like a nuclear, which would wipe out the electronic grid, we would expect the market value of gold and silver to be readily available to the public. Having access to this information will be helpful in determining how many coins, ounces, or fractions of an ounce are needed for a particular good or service. If goods and services are priced in precious metals, which is my point, we would expect that the prices be relatively stable versus using a plummeted currency, which is likely trying to catch a falling knife. Many of our customers purchase gold and silver coins with the idea that they may use them for bartering at some point, which is what I'm saying. I'm going to walk into a Ferrari dealership. Here's a 1 ounce coin. I'm walking out with the Ferrari, or a very nice house next to Bobby's. That's $500,000, 750,000. Here's 2 ounces of gold. I now own your house. That's what I mean by bartering. You're not going to take the money and go there. So when I told the Toyota dealer I'll buy a Camry with an ounce of gold, he's like, well, go get the money. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. That is the money. You will readily take the gold because you're not going to want the money. He doesn't quite get that yet. He's a crypto guy. So, all right. But I do get free oil changes. So as Mr. T would say, I do pity the fool. I pity all these fools that are like not listening. That's what drives me nuts. This is what's going to happen. This is not my opinion. This isn't even my paper. This is from Atlanta. This is what's going to happen. This is why I scream buy gold and silver. This is why I tell Bobby to buy fucking gold. Don't just buy silver. And what you're going to do is you want a new house. You're going to give them an ounce of gold. You're going to walk out with the house. You're going to barter the gold. We don't know the value because the money is gone. Nobody wants it. It's worthless. So you can't value gold in money. So then it becomes, here's an ounce of silver, and I'm going to go walk out with 10 dozen eggs and bacon and milk and, my groceries. Here's an ounce of silver. Here's an ounce of silver for a Camry because it'll be worth $35,000. The Camry guy's going to take whatever because now he realizes not only can he not take money, but all the money he has in the bank is worthless. Once he realizes that, he knows he's fucked. Hey, Bobby, I was waiting for your reaction. I had to rewind back a little bit to see some of the beginning of the class. Well, I'm talking this article. Have you been listening to this article? Because I mentioned you and Stone Cold Steve Austin quite a bit in it. This is saying what to do when the currency collapses. Well, thank you. I'll always teach, and I won't. I'll still work, but now it's a whole lot easier because I don't have to worry about paying rent and food and everything, and I can wait till the gold goes up. That's my real retirement, Bobby. The mantle cards, and then the gold going up to 50,000 an ounce, or the dollar going out. We're sitting in all this gold. That's really my retirement. This is just the bridge until we get there, and this pays my rent and everything else. And I'm getting frustrated. I'm not getting a job. I think it's probably because of my age. So fuck all these people, and I can just sit in and stay up late and relax and take Jen on vacation and go from there. Well, have you heard this, what I've been reading the last 15 minutes? Or do I need to repeat it for you, or did you see this? Again, this is from AtlantaGold.com, and it says, How will gold and silver coins be used after the dollar collapses? So they're not even questioning it. They're saying it's going to, and that's what I've been reading. So that'll be on the last 20 minutes of this. There will be a gold and silver exchange, which I pointed out specifically to you because I know how you worry about it, that it'll come out of the woodwork. There'll be so many people. So as I've explained, when I'm in Europe, when I go to Lisbon or Amsterdam, you got to exchange and get euros. There's little banks or ATMs that charge you a fee to do it. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to give them gold or silver. They're going to give you whatever the currency is. Then did you see where I showed you that the new yen and the new euros coming out in 2024? They like the new colors, so they're coming out as the currency dies. And I'm going to get to the US doing the same thing. So as you can see, gold and silver exchanges. You'll barter, which is my point about buying a house and buying a Ferrari with the gold. You give them the gold coin, you get the house, you get the Ferrari. You don't even need money. That is money. This is for you, Bobby. Many of our customers purchase gold and silver coins with the idea they may use them for bartering at some point in the future. Individuals that purchase gold and silver coins with this in mind tend to prefer junk silver or pre-1965 90% silver dimes, quarters, and half dollars. Two benefits are that they're U.S. currency and available in smaller denominations, which makes them easier to trade. Since 90% silver coins are fractional coins, it may be a bit difficult to know how many coins are equal to an ounce of pure silver. A good rule of thumb is 1 ounce of silver is equal to 14 silver dimes, 5.5 silver quarters, or 2 3/4 half dollars. Or if you use 6 quarters or 3 half, it's okay, whatever. What they're trying to say is, like, I buy gold and a tenth of an ounce, a quarter of an ounce, a half of an ounce, and an ounce. Because I don't necessarily want to have an ounce unless I want to buy a house, but I have the gold. Now the silver, the 1 ounce silver is it's more, right? So you're fine buying your buffaloes and your kangaroos and everything else. But the point is that sometimes you want fractions. You want a Mercury dimes. You want the half dollar, the Kennedy half dollars or the quarters. And so what they're saying is just buy them. There's still their percentage of the silver, but because silver is so cheap, so even when it goes to 2,000 an ounce, okay, maybe I wanted a Mercury dime or something. So maybe you buy some of that, Bobby. It's got some silver in it. But again, you got to prove how much silver it has in it, which is hard. So it says 1 ounce of silver is equal to 14 silver dimes. Well, who the fuck's going to know that, right? Unless you got the article and saying, so you're not going to know the Mercury dime. I need 14 Mercury dimes for an ounce. Well, I don't even want to go there. I just do it. I'll just do, an ounce of silver is an ounce of silver. And notice how they're saying 1 ounce of silver is equal to 14 dimes. The ounce of silver, it doesn't matter if it's the Liberty, which is actually a $1, or the Maple Leaf, which is a $1. I think it's a $5. Or the buffalo, or that limited I showed you, or your kangaroos that aren't money. They're bullion, but it's okay because it's 1 ounce of silver. We don't give a fuck. It doesn't need to say it's worth $1 because we don't care about it. So that's what they mean by the currency, are the Mercury dimes and the silver quarters, which were done before. And you can see how they're fucking everybody. They used to be in silver, but not anymore. They stopped doing that. Let's say that you or the person that you're trading with doesn't exactly have 14 dimes, 6 quarters, or 3 half dollars. How do you then determine how many coins should be used in a transaction? In this case, we recommend keeping a pocket scale with you and weighing the coins. 34.56 grams of 90% silver coins is equal to a troy ounce of pure silver. Well, who the fuck knows 34 grams of how do we know they're 90% silver coins? Unless that's what a Mercury dime is. It's 90%. That's what the half dollar and the quarter dollar, these are all 90%. So then we don't have to guess, but who knows that? I just assume have the equal to 1 troy ounce of pure silver. I just assume have that. There's no mistake. Much like our example above, if you can remember the number 35, you should be fine. So here's what they're showing you as the junk stuff. Mercury dimes, even the Eisenhower dime, and then these quarters and the half dollars. These are old, and these are silver. Look at the Kennedy. This is a 1964 Kennedy. So if you find half dollars like this, it's silver. Just take it. So, and you can see here is a 1962 quarter. This one right here. So anything back in the 60s and under are real silver, and you should keep them if you get them in your pocket change. So keep that in mind. That's what I liked about Vegas. You would get paid out in like real coins initially, right? You would get silver dollars in quarter. You would get real money out of that. And then they changed to the paper because they probably realized, wait, shit, the silver's worth a lot. We don't want to do that. Additional coins and bullion that our clients typically purchase with bartering in mind include American gold and or silver eagles. Most government-issued coins, such as Canadian silver maple leaf coins, Austrian silver philharmonics, as well as silver rounds and bars from recognized manufacturers such as Engelhard, Mahaffey, and Royal Canadian Mint. We recommend staying away from obscure gold and silver coins, as well as unmarked silver bars and rounds. Unmarked means it doesn't say 1 pure ounce of silver. That's why I tell you, make sure it says that on there. If it doesn't, you don't know what the fuck you're buying. As they would be less recognizable and liquid than the previous mentions. So if the guy says this isn't like that gold James Bond silver, and I told you about, he had some of those. And I said, well, what's it worth? And he gave me an answer. And I said, but how do I know it's gold? It doesn't say gold on it. Who's going to buy it? How do I tell somebody this is really gold? So I go to Bobby with it, and I go, Bobby, it's really gold. And you're going to say, prove it. We'd have to go to a coin store or figure out or something, a magnet to show it's really gold, but it doesn't say it on it. So that's what they're saying. Avoid the shit that doesn't really say gold if it's a bar or a coin, and get what we get, which says 1 ounce of gold, 1 ounce of silver, 999s, or quarter ounce, half ounce. They all say it on there. Also, keep in mind the size of the items that you're purchasing. Investing and storing large-sized coins and bullion in a store is a store of value, a wealth preservation strategy, and a way to maintain your purchasing power, but are less likely to be good options for bartering. Right? What are you going to do with that 1 ounce coin at a coffee shop? You're fucked. That's why you need the silver, and that's why you need the 1/10 of an ounce. Go, Al. You're going to need the silver before you get the 1/10 of an ounce. Even the 1/10 of an ounce cost me $2.30. The silver's $24. So, right now we just keep getting the silver because it's so cheap. But that's what I'm saying. Underground market shopping. It's safe to say that gold and silver coins will be in demand in some form or fashion following the monetary collapse. If they're not used for general commerce, can't be traded out at a gold and silver exchange facility for some reason, aren't accepted as a medium of exchange for bartering purposes, or are banned from use, such as China recently did with cryptos, they will likely be used in underground or black markets. Let's take a quick look back in history. In 1933, it's illegal for U.S. citizens to own gold coins. This is 1933, not now. Many individuals failed to comply, as me and Bobby will not comply to that, as is evidenced by the number of these coins still available today, which is technically was illegal to use these coins as currency. We can presume they were traded from 33 until 75, when it once again became legal to own gold because of the dates. Due to the executive order, it would not come as a surprise as some of these coins are traded in an underground or black market. Of course, it's not quite as sinister as it may sound on the surface. Black markets tend to develop in countries and situations where the currency is no longer trusted or accepted by the general population, and widespread shortages develop. And most shortages develop because governments put in price control. As of this very moment, Panama is currently implementing price controls of a list of 72 items in an event to stem the ravaging effects of inflation and to stem violent protests. Unfortunately, price controls will only make matters worse. Now, to understand a price control, would be like saying my favorite, my Canadian club, you can only sell this for $20. Here's the problem. It cost me 30 to make. If it costs me 30 to make, I need to sell it for 40. You're putting price controls because you believe inflation is prices, not the fucked up printing of overprinting and devaluing the money. This is the first problem. They don't understand inflation. They think it's price. That's the effect that because you're printing the money into oblivion, it takes more money to buy the Canadian club. So since it takes more money to buy this, how do you put a price control on it? No, I need to sell this for 50. What does Canadian Club do? They go out of business because they cannot make it and make profit at the $20 that the price control is restricting them to. So they go out of business. You cannot price control because if you're caught, you got to recover your cost to be in business. You end up closing the doors because it cost me 25. I can sell it for 20. Why would I be in business? As I said, the first rule of business, I want to go into business. I want to sell Bellagio mugs. Okay. What's the market? The market is I can sell them for $9.99. What's my cost? Well, if I make, 20,000, it's $2 a mug. I got plastic. I got to print Bellagio on it. I need plant and equipment, and I got to buy the plant. Boom, boom, boom. Cost me $2.99, so I can make it. So I will go into business because my cost is $2.99, and I can sell it for $9.99 because I see that's what the market is for Caesar's mugs or for Mirage mugs. Then you come in with price fixing. You say you can only sell it for $2. It cost me $2.99. Would you go into business if it costs you $2.99, but the market says you can only sell it for $2? Would you go into business? No, because you need to make 10 on your $2.99. And if you can only make 2, you would never go into business in the first place, which is my point. So therefore, since you will not go into business, then you close your doors. If the government gets involved and you get away from the invisible hand, which says, government, stay the fuck away from business because you don't belong in it. Once you get that, then you would never go into business in the first place. Professor, flashing that bottle is making Bobby Bo want to take a shot of the whiskey. Well, I mean, I know I don't know. I assume they still sell 12-year-old at your local grocer, but I'm never opening that. That's like I'm in the pool yesterday. Now there's talk about them printing money again. Well, they have to. And you know what happens when they print the money and they lower the interest rates because they're ruining the economy? Me and you go and buy whatever island we fucking want because gold goes to 40, 50,000 an ounce at that point. Once they announce that, goodbye, because everybody knows what are they doing? They're printing money. What does that do? It causes inflation. The more you print, the less it's worth. But they have to print because they got to pay all this shit. So I don't know how long I'll be retired because I don't know how long the unemployment or I don't know how long the Social Security is going to last, but we'll see. And probably as long as Biden's in office, and then by then the gold will go up and I won't need it anyway. But it'll be nice for maybe a year. All right. Venezuela provides a good example of what happens when there's runaway inflation and mass shortages. In fact, their citizens are running out of the most basic of essentials, such as toilet paper. Why toilet paper? However, most Venezuelans are likely aware of an underground market where they can purchase these items at a premium. It's likely that these underground markets won't accept the Venezuelan dollar, which has been collapsing for years, making gold and silver coins a likely option for these type of transactions. So if you're Venezuela and you have gold and silver and nobody's taking, see, the problem is the stores aren't taking the dollars. I think that's what they're talking about with the food crisis, right? They're going, you won't be able to get food because the stores aren't going to take the dollar because they know it's toilet paper. So we'll be in the back of a Kroger's with our silver going, all right, let me have toilet paper and I want some steaks, and I need pig's ears for Bobby. He comes over for barbecue, and my coffee and whatever. That's what's going to happen. That's why I don't know how much gold and silver we need, because when that shit happens, you're gonna need to eat. Well, here's another ounce of silver, and you're gonna need to give to the girls. Here's some silver. I know you laughed at me when I told you to buy it, so I'm only going to give you 1 ounce of silver, not 5 ounces. This is what's going to happen, and the problem is this is just going to happen in the Ukraine, Romania, Russia, all these countries. It's going to be the same thing. So if you want, you go to Amsterdam with silver. Then you meet the girls. You say, I can give you 1 ounce of silver, and you'll have her all night. See, the problem is business going to want the dollar? And this is what I'm screaming at you guys about. When this goes to zero, nobody's going to want it. Target, Meijer, Kroger's, gas, nobody will want this. So in 2024, you see what's going to happen. They're coming out with the new currency, trying to fool everybody. So are you going to want the new euro? Is it backed by gold or silver? No. Then why the fuck would I want it? Are you going to want the new BRICS countries currency backed by gold? Fuck yes, I'll take that. It's backed by gold. Which means they can't print it. They can only print as much gold as they have. And I got the money. I can go to the bank and say, all right, I want the gold for it. This is what the whole problem is. Because these morons are printing, and everybody thinks, well, they can just keep printing, because that's the Keynesians view. We'll just keep printing and printing and printing, which destroys the dollars, because you can't do that, which eventually comes up with this black market. Well, we'll all be in the back of a Target going, yeah, let me have some toilet paper, and I want some Pepsi, and you got steaks, yeah, I want to eat. Here's 2 ounces of silver. That's how you're going to pay for it. That's what we're going to, right? We know it. It's not an opinion. I'm reading it, but I've been saying this for what, a year and a half now? All right, now summary. It's a long summary. All right, I'll be quick on the summary, but I think it's important. In conclusion, we're not predicting an imminent collapse of the dollar. However, historically speaking, all fiat non-commodity bank currencies have failed. This has been the case throughout time. There's no reason to believe that the dollar isn't an exception to the same fate. We've discussed 5 possible scenarios where gold and silver coins may be used following a substantial devaluation or collapse. Secondly, many different types of businesses or professions would likely be willing to accept precious metals as a form of payment because they won't accept the dollars, which are worthless. If gold and silver coins aren't used in daily commerce, we would expect for existing gold and silver exchanges to provide a necessary way to exchange your precious metals. Lately, it's possible that underground or black markets were to develop. Keep in mind that this is all merely speculation on our part. We don't have a crystal ball. I have a crystal ball, as you can see from my football picks. However, we have taken into consideration historical precedents and how situations have played out in other countries to arrive at what we believe to be reasonable assumptions. Atlanta Gold. So if you want, contact Atlanta Gold and coin buyers if you want. Now, what else do we got? New USA currency in the Google. Let's see. There was an article saying the same fucking thing as the euro. Is there going to be a new U.S. currency? Here's what they say: a new $10 bill is coming out in 2026, a new 50 in 2028, a 20 in 2030, a 5 in 2032, and a 100 in 2034. But that wasn't what I was looking for. So here's a fake claim. False claim: pre-2021 US dollars will be invalid in 2023 is bullshit. So if you read that, that's not what it is. It's if you have old bills, you still be able to use it. So somebody on Facebook made that out to scare people. It is not true. You'll be able to use old US dollars in 2023. So here's a quick note. A U.S. central bank digital currency would be a digital form of the U.S. dollar, while the U.S. has not yet decided whether it will pursue a central bank digital currency. The U.S. has been closely examining the implications of and options for issuing a CBDC. So they haven't even started one. It won't work. Don't worry about it. Now, if we go to Europe, maybe. What should I own if the dollar? Okay, here's a good one. What should I own if a dollar crashes? Here are the top recommendations. 1, gold and silver coins. 2, gold IRAs. 3, real estate investments. 4, foreign bonds. 5, collectibles such as whatever an NFT is. Food storages and own foreign currency. Well, I don't want to own that. It's all bullshit. So we'll go right to the top, gold and silver coins. So there we go. Well, there was one where I saw the U.S. is coming out with a new dollar in 2024. No, that doesn't work. See, you got to be careful who you read here. I don't know. I thought I had one. I'll have to look for it. Where the dollar, there'll be a new dollar in 2024, just like the other two I showed you. It's the U.S. switching to rainbow currency. What? I got to read that. What's that about? Is the USA switching to rainbow currency? No, they are not. What is a rainbow currency? Is that like the old Houston Astros uniforms? Here's a good one. Do I have to trade my old design? Do I have to trade in my old design notes when a new one begins circulating? No, you do not have to trade in your old design notes for the new ones. All U.S. currency remains legal tender regardless of when it was issued. That's October 8th, 2013. Sorry about that, folks. I thought it was more current. Is a new gold-backed currency on its way. This is November 3rd, 2022. Not only do I need to stay as informed. China and Russia are working toward a new gold-backed currency in a move that would aim to dethrone the dollar as the primary reserve currency in the world. I think it's highly doubtful that any currency could overtake the U.S. dollar, but this news struck with me. I can't help but wonder, what would a new gold-backed currency look like, and what would it mean for the gold in my portfolio? Let's see. Of course, they're going to say nobody can take over the U.S. because it's just bullshit. That, they won't say it, but of course it'll happen. Yeah, this isn't a real. This stupid article. Anyway, it's enough of the goodies by now. So anyway, so what did we learn? The yen, there's a new yen in 2024 because this one's going bankrupt. There's a new euro in 2024 because this one's going bankrupt. There's a new dollar in 2024 because this one's going bankrupt. And they'll try to scam us to believe it's good because we see what happens when nobody wants it, right? Nobody, once the big stores say, I don't want it, then they got to come out with a gold-backed currency because they can come out with a new currency, but if it's not weighted down by an anchor of gold, it's going to be worthless. Bobby, let's see. Now there's talk about them printing money again. Yeah, okay, right, because they're destroying the economy, so they got to lower interest rates to move the economy. So it's either I fuck up the dollar or I fuck up the economy. That's because of all the debt. So I was at my barbecue place yesterday talking to my guy, and he's a little worried, like, well, how did they do it in 1980? I says, well, they didn't have the debt in 1980 that they do now. That's the difference. So when Volcker raised the Fed funds rate to 20%, it stopped the inflation. But you can't do that now because you got $100 trillion in debt. You're fucked. If you raise rate, you are raising the interest cost on the money that they can't pay back. So therefore, that's the difference. So they're fucked, and that they're either going to ruin the dollar or ruin the economy. They're ruining the economy, raising these interest rates, and that's what happened in 80. You ruined the economy, but you kept the dollar. Now you're ruining the economy and ruining the dollar. And which one are you going to? You can't save either of them. You can save if you raise interest rates, you ruin the economy, and you still aren't going to save the dollar. So when you're now pivoting and lowering the interest rates and printing the money, you're trying to save the economy now. So it's which one am I going to ruin? And you're going to ruin the money, which is why we're buying gold and silver, because they don't want to ruin the economy. God forbid, how are they going to do black markets without that? Professor, it is true that the average 401k retirement is 50K. I have no idea. And then what's 50K? With inflation, 50K is 35K now. I don't know, Bobby. I got 125,000 in gold and silver, so I don't know how you want to count that, but I would say it was a little higher, but then people got their ass kicked because they didn't get out of it, and they're probably not even at 50K now. Well, you're going to cook me pig ears, Bobby, because I certainly am not cooking pig ears. So I don't know where you're getting the figure 50K. With inflation, 50K is not worth anything. So don't think in terms of money, think in terms of gold and silver. 51 ounces now. And then I got like 425 ounces of silver. And now that I got this Social Security, the first thing I'll do is go buy more gold and silver. Because I was saving that money in case I needed it for rent and everything. Now I don't need it. Just for the girls and vacations. So now I can go buy more gold and silver. So let's see how much I can get. Now I'll probably get a job because now I've got the Social Security. So we'll see what happens. I know you said like 400 ounces of silver. Yeah, it's about 4.25 now. I mean, I just bought 10 more. Now I'll probably go to the gold store soon. Now let's take a look at what gold's doing today. Oh, really good. We saw it in that Atlanta article. So, well, that's my initial plan was 100 ounces of gold, but we don't know how long it's going to be there for us to get it. So let's. So according to this, gold's at 1964 today. You're doing good, Bobby. Oh, wait, you don't have any gold. Poor Bobby. Only silver. Now, this is a little different. This says 1945, but the other said 1964. And then we go to silver. Silver still shows 24. Silver's going to make a move. It has to. Because gold can't go up by itself. Silver has to come with. What was I looking at? Oh, wait. And look at my favorite chart. Look at the dip. Oh, it was at 9:45 today. And we don't care. We just know between 9:30 and 10 there's going to be the dip. We're waiting for that move up, which happened right there at 10 o'clock, right? Where did my finger go? Anyway, that move up. So as soon as that started moving up, the fuck happened? So as soon as it started moving up, look where it went. It went from 1923 to 1947. You bought your 1,000 shares today, you're just letting it run because you know why it's going up. See, the key is to understand why is it going up. And we know it's going up because of the inflation, so we're ready to let it ride. I would bet the gold stocks are doing extremely well today. So this is like, a week in a row that I am showing you this 10 o'clock drop, and then right around there, quarter to 10, between a quarter to 10 and 10, maybe sometimes 10:15, then it starts going up, 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 up she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows but the JP Morgan, and that's the thing. Now we're at 1960. You getting happy yet, Bobby? Now silver will start going. It just hasn't yet. So don't worry. It's going to. It can't. If gold goes up, it's because of the whole currency problem. Believe me, if gold goes up, silver's going up. It's a currency and everything else. So don't go, oh shit, silver's not going to go up. It's going up with it. It has to. So keep that in mind. So you can see it's up $130 in the last month, gold. We are catching it going up. It'll make it switch from derivative paper to physical. And the reason it's going down is the reason it's going up is nobody wants to fuck with it because they know it's going through the roof. You got the gold backed currency, then Russia, China, and the US is no longer the number one currency. So it's going to be, nobody's going to want it. And what did I just read you? Nobody wants the dollar. They all want gold and silver. That makes the price go to the moon. And you can't, what are you going to do? You can't fix the dollar. You fucked it and you printed it. And it's too much out there. And now the other countries don't want it and they're shoving it back to you and they're not buying your bonds. So all this dollars that's held by Britain and Germany and France is now, we don't want it because they know, look at Russia. They said, we'd rather have candy bar wrappers than gold. They know gold's no good and the Chinese know gold's no good. So what happens? Nobody wants it. That's where your problems arrive. You go to the Target. What are you going to pay them with? Well, I don't want dollars. If I'm running Target, I'm not taking dollars. You can pay me in gold and silver. That's it. I don't want dollars because it's worthless. And that's what I told the guy at my company. You're going to be fucked. You're letting the one guy that knows what's going on, you're letting me go. And I said, I'll give you 6 months. You'll be out of business because of this, because nobody's going to want the dollar. Nobody wants this bullshit you're making. I mean, you're making such crap. Your automobiles. So you're going to walk into Toyota. How are you going to pay them? Is Toyota going to want dollars? Mercedes, Ford, and GM. What are these companies going to want? They're not going to want dollars because they realize, or they're going to start realizing, they're worthless. How they have not realized that yet shows how stupid these companies are, and these Austrian economists keep blindsiding everybody going, oh, we'll just keep printing more money. Who wants it? It's not worth anything. So at this point, since they still want it, you can still print it, but we all know in the long run, we don't want it. We want gold and silver now. So what do? I run to the store. Here's $284. I want 10 ounces of silver. Or here's $2,100. Well, now it's $160 over spot style $19.50. So it's going to cost me $2,100 for an ounce of gold. Now. So I switch my dollar because I don't want dollars. Here, give me gold. What are you going to do when it's 10,000 an ounce? I mean, if you don't want the money, you can only play this Ponzi scheme long enough before everybody realizes you don't want the money. That's what I'm teaching you. And maybe this is a better way. The way I kind of stumbled onto this at 3 o'clock in the morning. Just seeing how because I keep telling you, watch what the euro and the yen do. Well, they're coming out with new money. It better be fucking backed by gold, because if it isn't, it's only going to last a few months, and then they're going to be printing different fucking flowers and stuff. That's the problem. You can fool the dummies. You can't fool the professor in my class because we know what's going on. You're printing it. It's worthless, and nobody's going to want it. And we don't want our money. We don't want to hold this. I want this out of my sight, and I want gold and silver. And if I got to buy mercury dimes or half dollars or quarters, or just get the silver at $28, I'll buy that until I don't have any more of this. Meanwhile, my rent's still in dollars. How long is that going to be? When are they going to switch? I can see paying rent. Here's a quarter ounce of gold for rent, which is where it probably should be, but we will see. So anyway, that's what's coming. You know that's what's coming, and you know what to do with it. You get out of the dollar. Why do you want to hold the dollar? Do you think this is going to have any value? Do you think it can turn around because it did in 1980 and it's going to have value? How is it you're going to give this value without gold and silver connected to it? So you only have one choice. You connect gold and silver, but then you're going to come out with a new dollar. Oh, they'll come out with a digital dollar. Oh, do you actually think, dark chocolate Bobby, do you actually think the new dollar, the digital dollar, is going to save you? Only if it's backed by gold and silver. If you don't hear the words gold and silver with something, it's worthless. It's only worth something if it's backed by the gold and silver. Well, then just buy the fucking gold and silver. You don't have to worry about it being backed. And when I scream at you, you don't understand how cheap silver is. You can go buy it at $28 an ounce. You don't understand. If you can get it for $2,000, you'll be lucky and very happy. Good luck. Go to the coin store, see how many mercury dimes and those John F. Kennedy half dollars he's got. Just check that out. I bet he's got a hell of a lot less than he did before. I can see buying mercury dimes. What did you say? It was like 6 was a no, you needed like 18 for an ounce of silver. So divided 28 by 18. Let's do it easy. Let's divide 30 by 15. That's $2. So that's about what they're worth. Is about, I don't know. I think they're worth a little bit more. They're not worth a lot now, but the value's down. Now again, how long can JP Morgan hold it? Once nobody wants money, you think JP Morgan's going to sit and hold dollars and keep the price of gold and silver down? He can't keep doing it. He could do it when everybody's looking at Madoff. He can't do it now. So they'll come out with something that'll be contrary to what's happening. And he's going to go and he's going to make up some stories and say, you know what, we need to print new dollars because, these are old. We've had them for a while. And that's what they're going to introduce. All right, which girl's calling me? Hope it's Daria. I haven't heard from her in a while. It's my friend. And my friend Andre from Alabama owns a gold mine. So we talk gold. He keeps thinking there'll be a digital dollar. And I keep saying it won't be. You can never get rid of this because people that, have money want, like, you're not going to just burn your money, right? So you got $10,000. How do I get it into my digital? There's no transaction because I got to take it to a bank to get it in, like I do on my debit card. Well, how can I do that? I can't do that. So that's really the point. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So this is a very interesting class, and when I see what you do at 3 a.m, you start searching Google, and there was a few other things I wanted to share that I had stumbled on. Like there won't be the digital dollar's 10 years away at least. Then I was reading an article that the reason they're having it is because China's doing a digital dollar. But you think it's going to work in China? China's a communist country, and they're control freaks who want to control their citizens. It's not the same as the U.S. Then you have you just have all this inflation. So really, to put it as easily as I can, supply demand. the demand for dollars here, the supply's here, nobody wants it. Say's law comes into play. It's actually a male investment, right? It's like an electric car. I don't want it. There's no demand, and it's got to fall with no demand because you printed it to hell and you took it off the gold standard, and there shouldn't have been demand from 1970. And I was a young lad then, but had I had my master's program in 1975 instead of 1995, I would have so much gold right now, it would be a joke, because at that point I could have bought it at, gold was $200 an ounce when I bought this. And this cost $500. So I consider this 2 ounces of gold. That's what it was. And my ex-wife got me into the baseball cards. We just left it, I would have been buying gold by the droves. Although at the divorce, she would have taken half. So maybe it's better. I got all the cards, and now the cards are, the Mantle card will be huge. So I just need to get them graded. That's my other ace in the hole. I'm not even counting with the Social Security. That just pays rent and stuff. But I got all this between Teaserking and gold and the baseball cards. We'll be on an island soon. Anyway, so what else do we want to talk about, guys? So we hit football. We hit the whole gold thing and the currency and the inflation all at once. I love how I take all that. Didn't see the guy at the hot tub. Here's a new hot tub story for you. So I'm minding my own business in the hot tub after I'm on the bike, and I'm going to go work out in the pool. And these 3 boys and 2 girls come as a group and sit down next to me. Like, I'm minding my own business. What the fuck do you want? And they look to be in the range of 16 to 20. I can't tell age anymore. So you'll love this story. So one of the boys sits next to me. There's the boy, there's 2 girls and 2 boys. And I look at the boy. He's got long hair. And I go to him, just trying to make conversation, but you know how I'm analytical. And I go, why do you have long hair? Very simple question. You can say, I don't know you. I'm not going to talk to you. You can tell me, well, I like long hair or whatever. He says, well, I don't like getting it cut. And I says, well, you didn't answer the question. Why do you? He says, well, I've been working on it for 2 years. And I go, you still haven't answered the question. Why do you want long hair? And girl number 2, who was okay, maybe a 6, 5 in the hot tub, starts pulling Alabama on me. She goes, oh, you're making my friend uncomfortable. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Can't he talk for himself? Why are you butting into our conversation? I'm not talking to you. And she says, well, are you having a midlife crisis? And I like, the fuck are you talking about? You don't know me. You know nothing of me. You just sat down and you're saying I'm having a midlife crisis because I asked some kid who's sitting next to me and I'm just trying to have conversation. Why do you have long hair? And he's uncomfortable with that. And why is he uncomfortable? Then maybe he shouldn't have long hair if he's uncomfortable about having long hair. So I'm kind of bitching at the girl because she's kind of pretty. So the guys probably kiss her ass. And she's saying, well, you're making my friend uncomfortable. And I said, I don't really give a shit. Who the fuck are you to even talk to me? I don't know you. I'm not talking to you. Butt out. And then, so they start leaving, and one of the guys starts talking to me, and he says, where'd you get the necklace? Like, I don't know what he was expecting. I don't know if he really cared, or he just says, well, it's gold. I got it for my master's. I was going to get a class ring, but it was $800, and there was no gold. And since my master's is economics, I got a gold chain. It was only $500. But I know to buy gold because I just got done with a master's in it. And it kind of shut him up. And we talked for another couple minutes. Then I go talk to my lifeguard buddy, and I go, I can't believe this conversation I just had. And she said, well, he must be gay. And again, it goes back to sex. He must be gay, and he's just, he can't handle talking about long hair, and she was trying to protect him. And I go, what the fuck was that all about? Again, is this all that these kids think about is sex? Even though you don't mention it? I had no interest in the guy. I had no interest in any of them. I thought it was just like little kids. So I'm like, yeah, I got a Russian and a Ukrainian girlfriend. I'm not talking to you. This has got nothing to do with but that's how even the head lifeguard was determining what the girl did. She says, this is the way kids are now. And they're all like, that's all they think about is sex. Geez, I think about sex, but I don't assume people want or don't want sex unless they actually bring it up. So I was kind of like very confused by it. So I just kind of laughed. I go, this is, we are in big trouble if this is the kids growing up, much like the Mercedes. So anyway, I didn't see my gold buddy, but I honestly wouldn't know what he looked like if I did see him. And really didn't talk to anybody. Well, again, they sat next to me. I'm just sitting there minding my own business like I like to. I like to relax and think. Mostly about football, but I've already thought gold through. Oh, anyway, if you are on Social Security and your gold goes up, it doesn't matter. Investments are okay. It's actually physically going to work and making more than $21,000. How they picked that number out of a hat, I have no idea. So if I do go to work, I would say I can only make $21,000. I could see working like part-time. Oh, I'll work Thursday and Friday or something, or, do something, unless I'm running a business making a couple $100,000, telling them to get out of currency into gold and make my money that way. If these idiots even understand it. That's what I find most people who run the businesses do not understand. I was very firm because the guy was letting me go and I was really pissed off. And I said, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you letting me go? I'm the solution. I go to Die Hard. I'm not part of the problem. I'm part of your solution. I'm going to save your ass. And he's just sitting there with a blank look on his face. And then I said, well, you're going to be out of business in 6 months because of this recession and the money going out and the inflation. And I said, the last thing I would do is buy So what they were doing is this one company was buying these small companies, thinking they're going to turn around like house flipping. And I'm looking at the guy like, this is your idea to buy this crap company, and you think you're going to make millions of dollars when the owner leaves and all his buddies stop buying? Where are you going to get sales from? Why would you even buy that? I'm going to buy this dump and then I'll turn it around into a diamond. Yeah, that'll happen. We'll all hold our breath while waiting for that to happen. And that's kind of what it was. So I just kind of laughed. I basically laughed at him like, if it was up to me, I would just buy a bunch of gold and just sit on it, and I wouldn't work and wouldn't waste my time. The odds on you making any money with these little companies is zero, running into a depression with high inflation and high interest rates. Who the fuck's going to buy from you? You're not needed. Say's law, supply creates demand. Who's buying his bullshit? Well, the Fords and the GMs. They can't sell a car because they go electric. So he's trying to sell shit that there's no demand for because these guys are losing their ass. Like Toyota, they can't sell the car. You think they want to buy this shit? So they're buying stuff that's really not needed. And that was the first thing I caught on. These are male investments. Do I really need to buy your product? And the answer is no. They were like conveyor belts and rollers. So if you ever watched Ocean's 11, at least the company I was at, I don't know all those other companies. So if you watched Ocean's 11, they throw a box from A to B, the little roller things. Oh, yeah, I really need that. I can probably just carry the box over or get a pallet jack or get a two-wheeler and put it on the two-wheeler and go over. Do I really need this roller thing? So it's not a product that's demanded. So my advice was to sell it and buy gold because you're not going to make any money. And then half the inventory you bought was bullshit. None of it's needed or will ever be used. You just bought crap. Like, what are you doing? And so I don't think I was told the whole story. I think they were just trying to liquidate it. I don't know. But I was glad to be gone. And that was the only question they asked today was my last job. And I said, well, I quit it. I was there 6 months. She didn't ask why. I think she said how much I got paid. And I told her, I don't know, 100 grand. And she was like, okay. I don't even know if they calculated that or it's already in their system how much to give me based on how much I made. I'm glad I'm not there. It was really frustrating. It was very dirty. I don't understand this business. It was filthy. And you expect your employees to work in filth? In the back room was all dirty and all. When I was at Mercedes, you could walk out on the shop floor and eat off of it. It was very clean. It was no oil. The offices were immaculate. What you would expect from the Germans. This company was grease and oil all over the back room. It was unorganized. The front was all dusty. There was holes in the carpeting. I mean, it was a pigsty. And I said that to the CFO. I says, you want me to work in a pigsty? Are you out of your mind? I'm not going to die of cancer for you guys so you can make $5 investing in shit companies that have no chance of ever making it. Because I knew he was selling a mill investment. He was not selling anything that any company would really need. It's more of a want. Oh, yeah, I'll have a roller. Do you really need it? No. So there was no product there that he was selling that was needed. And then when I came up with the idea of just making a menu, hamburger and fry, do it like Wendy's. You get a hamburger, a double, a triple. This is what it's going to cost for the hamburger. And then here's the fries and the onion rings. Here's a double. Here's a triple. So you're not recalculating the cost of every meal. This is what it's, you want a double Wendy's, it's $5. I'll just say $2 for fries. If you want the meal, it's $7. We'll throw in a Coke. We're not going to recalculate it every time. You know what this idiot did? He would do whatever the customer wanted, which is terrible. And he would then have to come up with a cost every time. So if they change the shape or they change the dimensions from 1 1/4 to 1 1/2, well, that's a new cost. So he's sitting there recosting everything every fucking time. My point was you should just standardize it. Make a 1/4, a 1/2, a 3/4. And fuck you if you want to get 5/16 instead of 3/4. Too bad. We're going to make the 3/4 or the half. And here's what you're going to pay for it. So it's going to be, $100 for the quarter, $200 for the half, $300 for the 3/4. And that's it. So you don't re-quote every fucking time. You never use labor or overhead. Never put in profit. His quote consisted of cost. With inflation, I doubt he did that correctly because the costs are going through the roof. And the owner who was there, who was a thief, he was Madoff, is sitting there. Well, no, you got to give the customer what they want. And I'm like, no, this is a male investment. The customer doesn't even want it. He doesn't need it. He kind of wants this extra. Certainly, you don't have to give him the exact dimensions. He'll be happy if you're a quarter. These are fucking conveyors. You're sliding a box from one end. They don't give a fuck what it size, if it's a 1/4 inch bigger or smaller. And so I was fighting like 3 idiots in the room. I was the only guy with a brain, so it becomes that's what happens. And this is the problem I see with 99% of the company. They're run by idiots who might know the owner, or the owner's an idiot who stumbled on something and his friends are buying from him for whatever reason. And then they don't know how to price. The guy didn't even know how to quote. He didn't know how to quote labor. Didn't know how to quote overhead. Probably didn't even know what it was. I think what happened is I figured it out. They didn't want me to figure it out. I solved the problem and they didn't want to hear it. They had a different motive. So it's like, well, we got to get rid of Howard. He figured it out. That's what I think happened. Anyway, but I see this, and if I went to 99 companies, I would tell them the same thing: close down and buy gold and silver. Because what you're trying to make a product and get paid for this. The auto industry is going broke because nobody's buying cars, especially electric cars. There's no demand for electric. The regular cars, do you have demand for? So what are you doing? And then you're getting money for it. You don't want money for it. The money is worthless. So you're going to all this trouble to make something, to sell it, to get money. What good is that? Now, unless you're trading it in for gold and silver, your money's going to be worthless. So you're doing all this work for nothing. Why don't you just sit on your ass and buy gold and silver, and that's it. And that should be your business, which is basically what I'm doing now. I'm sitting on my ass buying gold and silver and doing what I love by teaching football and economics and gold. This is me in retirement teaching this every day. This is great. Yeah, Bobby, halfway there. I don't know that the price will stay long enough for me to get to the other 50, but this helps because now I can take my money in my retirement accounts, my stock accounts that I've sold all my stocks, and basically go buy gold with it. So we will see if we can get to 100. I'd like to get to 100 because I feel pretty comfortable there if I had it. But then I really didn't think about getting 400 ounces of silver. Like I said, I had 37 Highland mints, and I just thought that I didn't need any. I just was buying gold. And then when I started, I got 400 ounces. I might work on getting to 1,000 ounces of silver because I can see that's what's going to be needed more is because the gold's too much. The gold will give you great wealth, but okay, you'll use it to buy a Ferrari or a house, and then that's it. More so, the silver will be used every day for food and stuff. All right, Jesus Christ, 5 o'clock. Well, I got on late. All right, time to relax. Have a good day. Any other questions or comments? I will hold on. Again, football, the Cincinnati's the free pick. Now they're laying 1. They were getting 1. I loved it +1. I love them as the dog. Now they're -2. I didn't love as much. Now -1. I love them again. So take them. And then you can go Frisco under, or you can take the dog in the Frisco game. I got to rewatch Philly and the Giants, but you got to forget the Giant game because they're not playing Daniel Jones and they're not playing a weaker defensive team. They're playing the Niners. Their offense is not going to work like it did against the Giants. Hurts is not going to be able to run all over the place. And frankly, their defense, they're not playing Daniel Jones. They're playing Purdy and McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and Kittle and Ayuk and all those guys. Good fucking luck. Now, I do like some of their defense, Darius Slay and stuff, but that's the thing. And that's the point I make about the Lions. Here they get a guy like Darius Slay. They let him go. Then they had another guy in the secondary who was all pro, and they let him go. This is the problem with the line. Now we got to draft a new guy. And then they keep drafting the new guys so they don't pay. But what people aren't realizing, as soon as they get to their second contract, they don't pay them. They all leave. They've been doing that since 1960, and they'll keep doing that because that's the Ford way. But good news is Ford will have to sell the team soon because he's into electric cars, which are never going to sell. His costs are going to go up for his cars. He won't make a sale. He's fucked. He's going to have to then. His asset will be some land and the team. So he's going to sell the team because that's his only option. And I'll love to see those motherfuckers pour. The way they are, it's very nice. Anything else, Bobby? You still there? Or you're eating pig's ears? Anything else to talk about? Poker, women, Russia. I don't know what's going on there. It's part of the plan, but be careful. All I can say is, as I just read, the demand for the paper will go away. People will not want it. It's getting replaced by the BRICS countries, money backed by gold. So keep that in mind. The U.S. dollar will not be the lead. It's already not the lead currency. It kind of still is, but it won't be. You can see it being faded away because it was only there because of the oil, which it's not there anymore. There's now an oil backed by yuan. I did read something in my Google where it said that there are other dominant currencies, and it said the euro and the yen and the yuan are also considered lead currencies or dominant currencies. So the U.S. is number one, but there is 2, 3, and 4. Now you're blowing up the euro and the yen and the yuan. So it's now just the U.S. because of default, because these other currencies are worse. That's why Russia and China are coming out with this gold-backed currency to then take over and be number one. And that's really what will happen. So I think we're good. I don't know if I can go swim because of the snowstorm, but I've been out, so that's good. And otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow. So I feel pretty good. So if you need Social Security, it takes you a half hour. Just go sit down. They wrap it up. It'll take a week and a half to get something in the mail that says you're fine. And then the first second Wednesday of every month, but it's because my birthday is the 7th. If your birthday's later in the month, it comes later, I guess. So I don't know, but notice it's not digital. It's going to be, it'll be a direct deposit. So anyway, I think that's about it. Good luck on your football. Be careful of these. I'm listening to BetMGM in the car, and they're talking about fucking golf tournaments. I'm saying, well, I'm going to bet this guy to win the whatever golf tournament's coming. And you're like, Jesus Christ, they're betting on golf. They're betting on the winner in golf. You can't bet on golf. Golf's the most, who the fuck knows, sport there is, like tennis. I don't know. Well, tennis, you probably know who's going to win. Golf, every course is different. You can shoot 68 one day and 78 the next. And most of these guys are chokes. I don't even know what the fuck they're doing in golf. But who bets golf? You got to be kidding me. I would never bet. You have no idea. You might as well bet on, how many missiles Russia shoots to the Ukraine. You'd have a better chance on them. Although good luck counting it. All right. So I heard from my Ukrainian girlfriend this morning. I was getting worried because when you go 2 days and you don't hear her and they're in the middle of a war, you start thinking that she get blown up. So fortunately, she's okay. And my Russian one she can't text me at work. So she usually will, but I can see she comes on. You can see like, oh, she was on at 3:40. There's my messages. But she didn't read my message, but she came on. So I know she's okay. She works like in a store, but who knows what's going on in Russia. Poor people there. See, the people are poor. Putin steals from them. Welcome to communism. Everybody's running to communism, socialism. Yeah, well, good luck with that. Anyway, I think that's about it. So one more time, Frisco 20, Philadelphia 17. More than likely, Cincinnati 31, KC 13. We don't know what's with Mahomes. We assume he'll play a little. I don't see him coming out for the second half because once you get that type of injury, you're okay a little bit. And maybe you take the shot. You can play the first half. But once you go sit down for the halftime, even if he stands and walks on it, he's fucked. So, at best he gives you a half. But I wouldn't bet KC with Mahomes. So I like Joe Burrow. I'll take Joe Burrow. Thank you. Anyway, I think that's about it. Have a good day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. You can get my email if you want to email. Talk gold, silver, football, whatever you'd like. Have a good day and take care of yourselves. All right. Good night.